Ow. Alright guys, for today's video, we are back. And again, like last video, I apologize yet again, because this allergy season is kicking my ass. Like, this is the worst it's been in about a decade or so. So, bear with me as we go through this. But anyways, if you work on any sort of modern car, and I mean modern cars from probably like, hell, what was it? Early 2000s on or whatever, they kind of switched over clamps that they would use. They would always use old school, I say old school style, worm gear drive hose clamps, to where you take a screwdriver or a whatever size socket would be, put it on there and it twists itself down or whatever to tighten it up. And they switched over to these spring clamp style. Now, people claim there's a benefit to this, which there may be, but they'll say like, so when like the hose and stuff heats up, it'll expand ever so slightly, and the clamp itself has a little bit of give, so it'll expand with it as well. With it, where like a worm drive clamp won't expand, and it can wear your hoses out. At which point I'll say, hey, if you have a GM vehicle and you run Dexcool in it, your hoses get worn out anyway, so it doesn't matter what kind of clamp you use. But I digress. There is also a chance of you over-tightening something if you're really going at it and maybe cracking any of the various plastic parts on that are on modern engines. But anyway, so you have these clamps. They're everywhere. Every sort of hose there is, that, and you need to take these off. And they're always, usually always, in some sort of damn position that makes it virtually impossible to get to. It's always a pain in the ass. So now, if you don't work on cars a lot, or even if you do work on cars a lot, oh geez, no, come back. Even if you do work on cars a lot, you may not all the times invest in the correct tools. So if you're working on cars and you're like, oh, right, here's a hose clamp, let me get any of the various pairs of pliers that I have to try and get this off, and you may use a pair of needle noses, squeeze it down that way. But with needle noses, it pulls it out kind of a weird angle and doesn't open it up correctly. Or you may have this sort of bent sort of needle nose, and you can try and get it in here if you can open it up wide enough and kind of get it to squeeze down more evenly and all that. Or it's like, okay, that doesn't work all that well. Let me get a pair of channel locks. Some channel locks on there. Those squeeze nice and straight, which they do, which is good. Can I get this channel lock in here of various sizes? Maybe, maybe not. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, well, while I'm trying to do this and get this hose clamp off and or put the hose clamp back on, it's a pain in the ass to try and take and hold a pair of pliers shut as I slide something in there, and more than likely have to kind of rotate the position of the pliers around as I do it. It's like, okay, well, let me get a pair of vice grips, because now at least with a pair of vice grips, I can lock it and it'll hold itself open like that to begin with. But I can't really rotate that as I want, because then it pops right off. It's like, okay, well, maybe, just maybe, you been eating your spinach, you got some massive forearms, and you can squeeze the hose clamp enough to be able to get stuff on and off. And I mean, that comes down to how much spinach you eat or whatever. I mean, I have big forearms, but it's not from eating spinach.
I myself, I jerk off at least twice a day.
Yeah. Anyways, what you need, and it is totally worth the money, because this is like, it's seriously like 35 bucks or whatever. I don't know. I'll put some of that in there. But what you need is a hose clamp removal tool set. Now, this one is a Mishimoto brand, and I got this off of, I want to say, Summit. I put some links in the description to Amazon, and honestly, the stuff on Amazon probably comes from the exact same factory as whatever this one's made of in China somewhere, because everything's made in China now. Hopefully these tariffs start changing that. But anyways, this kit comes with everything you'll need, and you don't need to get a full kit yourself. You can get, if I have a need for just one of these, you can spend money on just the one. But all this kit came together for, I think it was like 35 or 40 bucks. You have standard screwdriver to get off a worm gear. You have a big ass pick to kind of scoop in underneath a hose that may be stuck on something, kind of scoop in there, put it in, and you can work it all around. I mean, if you're using a pick this big, you're going to be replacing the hose anyways. You're not just swapping or just pulling out to put it right back on. You have all these various different hose clip removal tools, and the cool thing about these is they lock themselves down. You open that up, squeeze that down, open it up, and then all of them that are this style have rotating heads on it. So for this here, if you look either side there, you have, it's kind of like a notches in there to put this in. So you just kind of put these over here and line the notches up best you can. And you may have to play with it while it's in the car, squeeze it down. It's locked in. But here's the beauty of it. I can now rotate it to get it to wherever I need. And it won't pop off like it did with, say, the vice grips. And then you put it in its place, and you just kind of line it up. And most of the hoses, new hoses now have kind of like a line where you line it up and attach it to get it to lock in the position it's supposed to be. I mean, it doesn't so much matter. I think it's just kind of more directions for people working on it. And then you just kind of do that, sets into place. So you have this straight pair. Then you have another straight pair with a big deep groove and a cup here. Similar thing. For the cup side, you put in the single side there, and the big groove would go onto the kind of double-sided up portion of the hose clamp. Same thing. Clip it down and do it. You have this one here is pretty handy. Unlike the Cruise, similar sort of thing. Again, the big groove in the cup, and this one's at an angle. So in case you need to have to get in some kind of awkward position, because everything is positioned in cars in awkward positions. It's just what they do, because the people that design them have never worked on them before, and they're assholes. That's kind of what they do. Another sort of similar clamp style. Another similar clamp style, but this one is for like even bigger sort of hose clamps, where it's like a gigantic, call this the cup end or the clip end, and kind of this the cup end, depending on what it would be, where you position it, whichever one you would need it for, like that. This one here is actually, I haven't even had to use this one before. It's kind of a newer style to me, but I guess it would be kind of similar, like maybe something like this. You kind of slide it on, and this way, it's almost like a pair of crimp pliers, and that the little smaller section will slide into that groove, while this side of the teeth slide in there to hold it. Yeah, I'll actually see what I can even use this for, because I haven't used it before. Maybe for a special type of thing that I don't even know about, honestly. But then here, this one, I think will probably be, well, it depends. If you have a Cruise and you need to change your lower radiator hose, this one is the one you need for sure. So that lower radiator hose is stuck in such a place that if you don't have this sort of tool, I don't know how you'd be able to fit your hand in there. But this is similar thing. Got your locking handle here, squeeze it, but on this end, you have a sliding jaw. As you squeeze it down, it closes on the clamp, and you let it go. So if I put that clamp right here, and I squeeze it down, trying to look through the camera as I do this. There you go. Squeeze it. All right. And it's open. So if you can't get your hands in there or whatever, you put it in here, slide it in here. When I replaced it on the Cruise, that hose, I just took the hose clamp, I clamped it into place and just let it sit there. Pulled the hose out, put the new hose in there without ever moving this out of the way, and then just opened it up and let it clamp itself back on. So this one here, depending on what vehicle you have, is probably going to be the most useful of them, because even how long this is, most of the time, if you're not needing to pivot anything, you can use this to grab any hose clamp kind of up towards the top of the vehicle as well. That doesn't necessarily need to go down in that area. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty straightforward video here. But this is a kit that if you work on any sort of modern car at all, or even some older cars, because there are things you can use, like a screwdriver, if for whatever reason you don't have a screwdriver, a pick here too, or there's this other type of hose removal clamp thing, and this is, it's like a reverse clamp almost, so it clamps itself closed, and as you squeeze it, it slides it off. So if you would imagine, like there's a hose stuck on something here, and you would slide this in here up like that, and like this one end sits against a flange or something, and as you squeeze it, it pushes the hose off if you can't get in there to kind of pull or grab or drag it or anything like that out of the way. But yeah, there are a lot of tools that pay for themselves. There are a lot of tools that are not so much worth the money. There are a lot of tools that are super ultra niche specialty wise. This is one of those tools that pretty much pays for itself just in frustration alone of having to deal with all these clips or wherever. And I mean, I think it's, I don't know, down in the description, it'll take you to, like, I don't know, I'll just put a general link that goes to all these different sorts of kits, and you can, if you're looking in the market for them, grab whichever one you want. Grab just an individual thing, but I feel like it's $35-40 last time I looked. So I did it again. Jesus Christ. If you work on modern cars and you don't have this yet, and you have the room, because tools take up a lot of room, but this sort of kit, a hose clamp, hose clip, hose removal, whatever you want to call it, tool set, get one. Get one, get one, get one. It's totally worth the money. Saves a lot of frustration and a lot of headaches. All right, guys. Damn it. All right. That's all I got for today. So like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. And I'll see you next time.